Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is General Odhiambo over here. Kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel at General Odhiambo. Comment, like, share, and you can drop us a comment there. The position of a vice president, or rather deputy president, comes with so many unique challenges. From navigating political dynamics to public scrutiny and balancing political ambitions, or rather intentions. So today I want to talk about something. The poisoned chalice, the so-called the causes behind the deputy president, or rather the vice president, since the time of the post-independence to after the promulgation of the new constitution in 2010. As you all know, politics is dynamics, and probably we have had so many presidents and deputy presidents. But for this particular reason, let us check on the challenges that have been facing, or the causes behind the vice president or the deputy president seat in Kenya. Well, we had our first president after the attainment of independence in 1963, and then later Kenya becoming a republic in 1964. We had the first president as Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, with this picking the first vice president by then, the so-called Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. Just like today, Mzee Oginga Odinga had passed through a lot of tribulations, to say, and maybe challenges pertaining the seat of the deputy president or the vice president by then. It reached a point when Mzee so-called Oginga Odinga had to resign in the KANU in 1966. That is citing humiliations and frustrations from the government, or particularly from the junior officers, and directly from Mzee Jomo Kenyatta himself. It reached a point when Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, the then vice president Oginga Odinga, saw it wise that he would have quote that it was not good for him to get paid by the public funds, yet he was doing nothing. And maybe to some extent Mzee Jomo Kenyatta rendered his so-called position irrelevant, or maybe was not considering him as the vice president by then. So in 1966, he resigned and formed the Kenya People's Union, and later on having his own political way of charting his political path. But then, after Oginga Odinga, comes the so-called Joseph Murumbi, who ruled for about 120 days and later on resigned. And the reasons that led to the resignation of the second vice president of the Republic of Kenya, the Mzee Joseph Murumbi, was in there happened to be a murder, and a gruesome one, particularly done by the government mercenaries, or the government operatives, Pio Gamo Pinto, who happened to have murdered in some cold blood, and maybe a lawyer from Kisumu called Pranlal Seth, who might have been deported. So hearing that and Joseph Murumbi having the human heart, maybe decided to resign because in his wisdom or lack of it therein, he saw that, you know, those who had resigned from the KANU and went to the Kenya People's Union by then were kind of raising some genuine grievances and maybe matters pertaining or for the best interest of the republic, or maybe for the best interest of the people by then. So Joseph Murumbi only took about 4 months in his office as the vice president by then. There comes Daniel Moi in 1967. Daniel Moi happened to have ruled for about over 11 years before the demise of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. Daniel Moi, the then vice president, happened to have been a punching bag for the so-called the Kiambu Mafia. And for reasons best known to them, in the biography written by one Andrew Morton, he says that Daniel Moi to some extent had been undermined, and probably he was being humiliated by the same government and by one president aide-de-camp, the provincial commissioner by then, called Kuria Madenge. So Kuria would have undermined the president in this, the vice president by then, the so-called Daniel Arap Toroitich. Okay, Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi by then, by allowing other people or other leaders to see the president, but will not get Mzee Moi to see the president himself. So to me, and probably there were junior staffs, maybe, and junior employees or the civil servants will be allowed in, but then the vice president, who was the second most powerful person in the land, will be denied access to the office or to see the president of the land. So with that, Moi never gave in to the tribulations, or rather never gave in to the so-called the frustrations and the humiliations by the then junior officers. So it led to, maybe the same perseverance led to Moi getting into power later on in 1978 after the demise of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. So the fourth person, Emilio Mwai Kibaki, who later on became the president of the Republic of Kenya. Mzee Mwai Kibaki, just as his predecessor, Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, Mwai Kibaki reached a point of being demoted from the vice president position to being a minister of health. And probably, just through his perseverance, we'll see him being the president in 2002 and being re-elected in 2007. A post that nobody think he would hold, just because of his, probably he was not seen as too aggressive he was not seen as somebody who will marshal votes, and maybe somebody who was not orally gifted. He was rather seen as an economist, and maybe some sort of an educationist. But then later on, the perseverance he had would see him being the president for about 10 years. Well, let's check on the 5th Vice President of the Republic of Kenya, Josephat Njuguna Murumbi, or Josephat Njuguna Karanja, rather. So, Karanja got to power, and maybe he was too aggressive, and the people around the president thought that power had gotten into him so quickly, and maybe he was undermining the president. And to some extent, the one David Mwenje and one Kuria would later on allege that he wanted to supersede what the government was doing, what the president by then was doing, and maybe he was a friend to the foreigners. And to add on it, they thought maybe it was a plan and a game plan, or maybe would have orchestrated a plan to overthrow the then government of Daniel Toroitich arap Moi. So in May 1998, the House by then gave him a vote of no confidence, or passed a vote of no confidence, which later saw Josephat Murumbi Njuguna leaving the office, just to go back to the history. For the 5 deputy, or rather vice presidents by then, whom I have discussed herein, a good number of them cited humiliations, and maybe they were not well with the government of the day, or maybe the president of the day by then.